the explosion, but there's no doubt he now has a few questions to answer. Retired FBI Special Agent Christopher Voss is a terrorism expert and the CEO of the Black Swan Group, a business advisory firm that focuses on negotiations. So, Chris, let's take these issues separately. We have one arrest in no connection to the case, according to authorities. And then you have the criminal investigation that has been opened by authorities in West Texas. Let's start with the criminal investigation. Why all of a sudden would they believe that maybe there's something else that went on with this explosion rather than it was just an accident? What kind of evidence would they have to have?
Well, good morning, Jenna. Yes, with the blast causing such a wide scattering of the debris from the scene, it's going to take them a while to be deliberate in their approach to make sure that they piece things together properly. They took a very deliberate, again, to use the word, approach to this because they had to make sure that they put the pieces of the puzzle together appropriately and don't alarm the community unnecessarily, and that's why they've taken their time.
So supposedly they found some bomb-making material at this man's house for a pipe bomb. Do you believe the assertion that we have right now that this man has no connection at all to the explosion at the plant?
Well, as an investigator, I don't believe in coincidence. It's the last thing to look at. So they have to be very careful, though, that they don't muddy up the waters and create an impossible jury pool if it ever comes to the fact where they have to put them on trial. And they have made the links, or if they have to put them on trial for charges seemingly unrelated if they haven't made the links. They're taking a long-term approach to this to make sure that when they do take it to trial, that it's taken properly and they haven't tainted any of their evidence or any of the jury pool.
This man was described as coming out talking to the press after this explosion. We talked about him describing himself as a first responder only because it seems as if he was fired only a few days after the explosion. So his past is very sketchy. What stands out most to you, Chris? If you were able to sit down and talk to this man, what questions would you be asking?
Well, I'd let him talk. He clearly had a lot to say afterwards. He stepped forward far more than anybody else did to try to step into the glare of the media camera. So a key to interviewing him is to simply sit down and let him talk, let him fill in the blanks. If he sits down, and the investigators give him the opportunity, he'll make statements that just don't make sense, and then they'll simply ask him about those.
What are the scenarios if we do indeed find out that this explosion was set somehow on purpose?
Well, if it was set on purpose, then obviously they've got homicide charges to file. And there could be other people that were involved as well. I mean, they have to be very careful that they don't narrow the investigation at this point in time and that somehow they don't start looking at the wrong person. So they have to be very careful about this to make sure that there weren't other motives and there weren't other people involved.
And Bryce Reed, according to the local press, talked a lot about revenge after this incident. So a lot to consider here. Chris, always nice to have you on the program. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jenna. My pleasure.